Howdy. Tis Friday, November the 21st. Getting this done on Friday this week. Good for me. You just missed me scolding my computer because I updated it to Windows 11 because, security, whatever, for Windows 10 was going down or, being discontinued, whatever. But I've had, trouble with it. Little things off and on. Every once in a while, Hulu doesn't want to work for whatever reason. But this time I have all my little apps at the bottom of the screen there. And as you can see, I have a Google window open. That's part of my my light. Since there's not a whole lot of light in here. But as you can see, right next to it is iTunes. And there's a little line under iTunes. Because iTunes is also, thank you, Minx, you're making this super easy, is also open. Because for some reason this little bar down here moved while I was trying to click on Google to open a nice little window to have my little, my light, as it were. And the little apps moved, so I ended up clicking on iTunes instead, and opening iTunes. And then, after I did that, it all moved back. It all shifted back to where it was. So it just stayed in fucking place, where it fucking was. I wouldn't have accidentally opened iTunes. I don't know. It was annoying. So there's that. I'm just waking up after a nice long nap, because I didn't go to Parks and Rec today. I haven't been to Parks and Rec all week. I don't know if this season is over, officially. I've heard nothing. So it's time for me to put in my hours for the last 2 weeks, and all I have is last Monday, and that was an hour and a half. So for the 2 week period, that's almost not enough for for the transaction fee that they're gonna be charged to send my money to me through the direct deposit. An hour and a half, but that's cool. It's a little bit. Oh my god. So yeah, the last 2 weeks has not been. I don't understand how, I haven't been going to Parks and Rec, but I feel, more tired somehow. I don't know. Sometimes it's better if I run on fumes. I don't get it. I don't understand. But here we are. So yeah, nothing really different in the last 2 weeks. Just working. That's, regular job anyway. I know the only two. I don't know if I discussed this or not. The only two big projects that I can think of at the end of the year for Parks and Rec was setting up the Christmas lights at Lions Lake, but we're not doing that this year because they've drained the lake. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before a time or two. They've drained the lake and they're digging it deeper and. Yeah, I don't know exactly for sure. They're not going to have it filled back up in time for Christmas. That's that's the dealio there. So no lights to set up by Lions Lake this year. No little Christmas walk. And there was a parade. I remember we worked on the float, but that was just one day, I think, maybe two. I don't know. I remember there being one main day. But I don't know for sure exactly when the parade is. If it's, I don't know. But then it's there's so many people because they bring over all the people from the community center and everything, and everyone's working on the float, and there's only so much you can do with a float, and pretty much everyone else is already doing it. So it was I just kind of stood around and was waited for somebody to need help with something, and nobody really needed help with anything. So I was just kind of standing there, alright. Hey guys, I'm on the team too, I'll help. And then it's nobody really needs it, so I'm just a bench warmer, I guess. in that sort of term. It's kind of like, all right. But I think Charles actually went home last year because our boss said something about like, oh, you guys can go home if you want, whatever, and then like I stayed around because I thought, well, maybe they'll need help with something, and then they didn't really, so I more watched them build the float more so than anything. But so those are the last two big projects I can think of for the year, and like I said, there's no lights around Lions Lake this year, so don't need any help with that, and I don't know when the float is, or if they'll even need me for that project, or if, they may have already done it. I don't, like I said, I can't remember exactly for sure. It was like some kind of holiday parade, so I don't know if it'll be in December, actual December. I can't remember, but so I might not be going back to Parks and Rec until next year. I don't know. It might be this might be the last hour and a half well, it's already happened. Last week might be the last hour and a half I get until like next spring. So we'll see on that. Oh goodness, I think I'm burping. I had some Frito scoops in nacho cheese earlier, and now that I'm awake, I think I'm burping them. So I did find some of the Summer Freeze Mountain Dew, which I don't think I'd gotten any this year since they brought it back, but I found it at Walgreens last weekend when Mom was here. So I have that. That's kind of nice and burptual. Yeah. I used my toaster for the first time in a long time. It was kind of buried back in there behind snacks. You want to see my toaster? It's blue. It's shiny. Oh, well, kind of. I guess you could call it shiny. Yes. But because I found some bagels on sale the other day for $2.23. These everything bagels. They smelled pretty good, so I whipped out the toaster. See? It's blue and shiny. Ain't that nice? Yeah. So, and some of my dice sitting here that I've ordered over the years. So, yeah. I've used my toaster. That's new. That's different. We'll go. Oh shit! We'll go with that. Makes these toys all over the floor. And a nice little pile. Well, I've kind of split the waters there between her toys. Mom likes to throw them all in a nice little pile. Throw them all at her at once. Then there's another pile over there. Oop, by the TV. It's too dark, you can't really see it, but go over there. See, there's more toys. More toys in the corner. So she has plenty to play with, plenty to have fun. So, and we might already have next Halloween figured out, because Gail was mentioning maybe going to stay at the Elms, and then the next day, because Halloween's going to be on a Saturday next year, and then maybe the next day going to Kansas City, because they have some kind of like Day of the Dead parade, but he thinks it starts at night, so I mean that's a long way off. But they interrupt fucking Halloween with fucking Christmas, so even though, I mean, we haven't even had Thanksgiving yet, like I can interrupt fucking Christmas with goddamn Halloween for next year, so fuck it, that's kind of what I think about it. So yeah, we might be going to stay at the Elms next year. I presented it to Marilee and Sean, and they said, yeah, that sounds fun. That sounds, but Marilee was suggesting we might want to get our room early because they might sell out. So I went to the Elms website the other day and looked it up. And of course, Sean's usually our research guy. Of course, it's more so like when we're doing Airbnbs and stuff. But yeah, just going to the Elms because I was, I found what I could find with like 2 beds in the room, because Sean and I can bunk. We've done that before. We did that when we went to Weston just 2 months ago, a couple months ago. I don't know. It was like right after we got back from vacay day. We went to the Weston the next weekend. So. Goodness. See, I could still sleep. I could still sleep some. But yeah, like I found the presidential suite. The presidential suite has a king bed and a pull-out couch, and you can order a rollaway bed by request. And there's apparently like did I say a dining room? I can't remember exactly for sure, because I thought like maybe you'd find a room where it's like we could all stay together or something, because I seem to remember, of course the presidential suite is like on the 5th floor. I seem to remember when we did our ghost tour, all of us merrily, anyway, they were saying something about, because there was a bridal party on the 5th floor staying there or whatever. I don't know how many rooms exactly are on the 5th floor. I don't know. But it was like $500 and something a night, I think. But with like 3 of us splitting it, that, wouldn't be as bad, I guess. If we wanted a room with like, 3 beds or whatever. Because, we could just get like a regular room, I guess. But Marilee would have to get her own, probably. Because it's like, obviously Gail and Angela would get a room together. And Sean and I could get a room together, and then Marilee would just have to get her own. So it's like she would have to like pay full price for like a 1-bedroom room, I guess. I don't know if we just didn't want to do it that way. I don't know. Could be cheaper. I don't know. Do all that research. Anyway, yeah. So that's already in discussion. Next Halloween is already in discussion. Oh, I guess I was just going to say, because I was yawning, I was like, wasn't there something I was just going to mention? And then it immediately fell out of my brain, because I want to forget the fact that I'm going in for overtime tonight again, but next week I'm not, because I almost said Halloween again. No, it's Thanksgiving. But I guess Mom's going to come pick me up on Friday. I believe is the plan. Last I knew, we're just going to kind of go to Excelsior. That's what she mentioned anyway. Because Thanksgiving used to be our time to go on these little... I remember doing this, but I didn't remember it was on Thanksgiving, I guess. There's these little towns we would go to. I want to say like Brunswick. I don't know. Just all these little towns. A couple different little towns that had their... had a festival on that weekend. But the last couple times we went to them, they haven't really been a big deal, so Mom wasn't really sure if she wanted to go all that way and go down there for kind of nothing again, Just kind of like here in town, we do a Dickens festival the first Saturday of December, but in the last couple years it really hasn't been a big deal. Because that first year they had carolers walking around. Maybe you got to be in the right place at the right time. Because when we actually had one of our, we used to have, when we would get our bonus every quarter, we would do a lunch out somewhere, and we did it at one of the places down on Pine Street. I don't know. I guess it was Heroes. We did our little lunch at Heroes, and they had this little stage in one of the rooms at Heroes, and when we first got there, well, I think that lady was in the other room. There was like a harpsichord player or something in the other room playing music while people ate. And then when we were getting ready to leave, the next set of carolers was setting up on the little stage, getting ready. I think I might have even got some footage of that, maybe. So I don't know, like maybe you got to be in the right place at the right time to catch the carolers singing. Otherwise, they're just kind of like walking around the street. I think it's a bigger deal in the morning because Santa comes in on the train, and Then I like light up the Christmas tree, and then I think it's pretty much over at that point. They had like the holiday market or whatever, but then that's just like people selling the same stuff. I mean, people talk about, every town looks the same, like every Walmart, there's a Walmart, a Walgreens, a Dollar General, a McDonald's, a Applebee's, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But like, if you go to these craft fairs, it's all the same shit. Like, there's going to be somebody crocheting things. There's a lot of people who put the little pictures on tumblers, and stuff. And I was trying to think of, like, a lot of people are doing the air fresheners now. Like, if you go to, like everybody's doing the same crafts too. Like, you walk around a craft fair, and I mean, I guess at least then you're shopping small. You're supporting local businesses. You're supporting, individuals instead of corporations, I suppose. But it's like you walk around a craft fair, go to any craft fair, and you're gonna see the same shit. Like, no matter where you are. I guess, I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of like, it just kind of seems like for the Dickens Festival that they have here in town, it's over the years, because there was supposed to be like, see, that's what happens. That's what happens when my light goes out, when I don't have my Google window open. There was like, artisans, that's the word I was looking for, like people doing little crafts and stuff, like in the windows. It was supposed to be like, living windows, whatever, and people were doing their little crafty things in the windows of the shops and stuff. And like I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, we only found one. There was a guy whittling stuff, but he was stuck in the back of the shop that we went in. I mean, I guess it's a good way to be like, oh yeah, come downtown, shop small, but then it's kind of like, the one artisan we could find was shoved in the back of the shop instead of in the window, which is kind of was the idea behind the whole Dickens thing. I don't know. So the Dickens Festival hasn't really been a big deal either, and neither were these ones in these small towns that we would go to. So yeah, Mom wasn't really sure if she wanted to do that, but she came up with this idea of coming to get me Friday, and going to Excelsior Springs, and which is where the Elms is, by the way. Mary Lee was all excited because I was telling her about that. She's like, "Oh, I'll go with you guys if you don't mind." And I'm like, "Oh, but we're not going to be leaving from here because Mom's going to come down and get me Friday." And then yeah, because I don't know how you would get. I mean, I guess you could get to Excelsior from here. I mean, we did it. We went and stayed at the Elms, but is it in a way that made sense, I guess? I don't know. So I told Mary Lee, I'm like, you're more than welcome to come to Mom's and spend the weekend if you want to, But Mary Lee has a very set schedule. She likes to, sleep. She definitely like once our little trips are over, she wants to get home. She's like, I'm just ready to go home. And it's like, yep. So and we kind of, we take our time. We shop. We do things, We don't rush out the door first thing in the morning and get home. So, I mean, I guess if Marilyn wanted to drive herself, drive down to Warrensburg, or drive down to Hardin from here, and, that way she could just go home Sunday morning if she wanted to. Just leave out and go. But so that might be the plan next weekend. But as far as I know, Mom and I are just planning on like going shopping and not really doing anything terribly exciting, but I guess something. Do a little something for Thanksgiving, because originally she was saying something about she might just work, and she's like, if I wanted to work, if I wanted, because I've been going in on Fridays for overtime. She's like, oh, if you just want to work, and maybe not do anything this year, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of like, you gotta, I mean, if you want to do something, you could just tell me. We don't have to do anything. It's no big deal. Like, I can just go to work on Friday and not do anything. She's like, oh, if you want to work, I never want to work. In the 45 years of my entire fucking life, I have never wanted to work. It is a necessity. I didn't ask to be an adult. There are bills to pay. I have to make a paycheck to pay bills. I have to go to a job I don't want to go to pay bills I don't want to pay. Being an adult, being alive, fucking sucks. So, in my 45 years of being alive, I have never wanted to work. So, if you'd rather come, pick me up on Friday, and we go do something, like, that's fine. We can do that. You just gotta tell me the plan. Because I can go to work or not go to work. Whatever it is that, you want to do, that's fine. You just let me know so I know how to proceed, basically. That's how it be. But other than that, I mean, I turned not saying a whole lot of anything into a lot of blah, 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 blah. So, you're welcome, I guess. I don't actually even know how long this video is already. But I shall grab the questions and find out. I really thought I'd be further along in this book. I must have done some shitty math. Because I thought it's like, if I do, because it's 99 questions, and a bitch ain't one, I don't know. I thought with like 300, I guess there's 365 days in a year. I don't know. I thought I would be further along in this book. I thought I would be done with this book, just doing, I'll just do one question a week. And like, I really thought I would be done with this book before now. But, oh well. I guess I can stretch this series into next year, since there's only so many there's only so many weeks left to the year. Because we still got this much of the book to go. We still got that much of the book to go. But as for this week's question, if you could have one superpower, flying, invisibility, telekinesis, etc., what would it be? I used to say flying. Because I just thought it would be cool to, like, fly over things, Like, oh, that'd be so neat. To have that superpower. But now, because I always gave Nightcrawler shit, because I'm like his power is teleportation. But of course the opening to X2 shows how badass Nightcrawler can be, because of course he has his acrobatics and whatever. And the more I thought about it, like telekinesis, well, that would be cool too. That's not what I meant to say. Teleportation, there we go, because I could wake up, take a shower, and be at work in 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, teleportation would be a very handy power to have. I just, because I thought about this question a lot. This is a very nerdy question. This is a question that gets asked to nerdy people a lot. And it's like, I feel like my answer has changed over time, because teleportation, even though I used to say, Nightcrawler kind of has a shitty power, and they gave him his acrobatics, his fighting ability to make up for the fact that he kind of has a shitty power. But I'm like, no, now I see the, especially like I said, after X2. But after, X2, you gotta admit, it's his acrobatics, his flipping around and, teleporting, blah, 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 blah. Like the acrobatics is half of the badassery in that opening scene to X2. But teleportation, I can see how it could be a handy power and get anywhere you want to go just by teleporting. That would be cool. But, the more I've thought about it, I don't know, because we like to explore. We're explorers. Sean and Marilee and myself are explorers. I think the most handy thing would be able to be turn invisible, because then you could go anywhere that you wanted, and no one would even know you were there. You could explore these abandoned buildings, and do this urbex kind of stuff, which I've never understood how these urbex people get away. Like, I have a book, well, not over there anymore, but it's like Steph Lawson, I think is the guy's name. Like he trespasses into these locations and takes pictures, which is art, of these abandoned buildings or whatever, or like and like abandoned theme parks and different stuff, and then he sells pictures of his crimes and he gets away with it. Like, I don't, like, you're trespassing. I mean, maybe some of them get, permission to go to these places and do what they do, but it's like, I feel like a lot of times they don't. And like you're trespassing and you're making money off of your crime. I don't know. But that would be cool, to just go explore these, places. And like I said, if you were invisible, you could just do whatever you wanted and go anywhere you wanted, So I think turning invisible would be probably the handiest superpower for my curiosity, It's like you could just go and explore, anywhere you wanted. Even in places like, even like the Elms or whatever, or like there's a place in Lexington, what's it called? The Anderson House. I've never seen the top floor because they don't allow people to go up there because it's like not safe or whatever. But like that's always been their excuse. And I remember talking about the ghost stories of Lexington, and people were saying like, oh, they just tell you it's, but that's where like the most haunted stuff happens is on the top floor or whatever. I guess it's like that freestanding staircase or whatever. So I mean, I assume people go up there sometimes, but as far as taking like tours and stuff, and people tromping up there up and down all the time, you can't necessarily do it, because it's like, oh, we can't take people up there because it's not safe, and then it's like, but they've been saying that for I don't even know how long, and I'm like, make it safe for people to go up there. But there again, I mean, that takes money, and that might be money they don't necessarily have, like, I don't know, like, I don't think, like, Lexington, Missouri gets, like, super tourist, like, it's not like a super tourist destination unless you're into, like, the Civil War and all that kind of stuff. So the tourist dollars might be basically, keeping the lights on instead of, like, renovating, people being able to go upstairs. But if I could turn invisible, I could just go and see it myself. Like, I could just go and then go, you know what I mean? Like, go upstairs and check it out and see what's up there, because that's what, I mean, even going, like, as a kid, like, going to Walmart, like, I always wondered what was in the back room, you know what I mean? The back rooms. It's like, it's like I want to know what's back there. Like, sometimes it's depressing because when there was a Kmart in Sedalia, the one time, for some reason, the bathroom was locked or something, or the key didn't work or something. I can't remember. So they told me to go to the employee bathroom, which was, down the hall, whatever, go down this way, turn this way, whatever. So I got to see the back rooms of the Kmart there in Sedalia, and it was so sad. Oh my God. I must have been during winter because I remember it being very cold back there. It was dark-ish. There wasn't a whole lot of light. There was like the brick, I guess, like gray brick or whatever. So that made it like even darker because like the walls were dark. And I remember passing by this sad little employee lounge. I think there was like one person sitting in there. They did have a TV, so that was cool for them, whatever. But it was just like this tiny, dark, like, it was like fucking prison back there. It was so like, ew, like, that was getting to see the back rooms of Kmart in Sedalia. I don't remember what the employee bathroom was like, but it was probably just as depressing. I don't know. Like, it didn't seem like a happy, fun place in the back room there in Sedalia, the Kmart. But that's not there anymore. The Kmart went out. Kmart as a business went out, didn't it? Like, it doesn't exist anymore. I don't know. The Town and Country is there now. That's where I get my sodas. They still haven't drank. I think Gail and Angela tried all their little wizard drinks. I still haven't drank any of them. They're still in the fridge. I kind of keep forgetting they're in there, but they were $5 a piece. So it's like, I better enjoy them before they go flat, maybe. I guess flat soda doesn't necessarily bother me. But yeah, like, you know, I could just go to Kmart, Walmart, Target, anywhere, and just, you know, sneak in the back door and just kind of hang out if I could turn invisible. So I feel like for my adventurous, you know, I could hang out in the cemetery all night long and not have to worry about, you know, getting trespassed or anything, you know, because people know we're in there. I'll just be like, oh my god, it's a ghost. And I'm like, no, it's just me. So yeah, I think being able to turn invisible, I think that's my answer now. Being able to turn invisible. I mean, there's so many good choices though, because it's like you could read minds, you could control minds, you could make people do whatever you wanted. It's like, hey bitch, shut the fuck up. And that bitch would have to shut the fuck up. Like, you're like, you know, it's like, oh my god, I've had enough of you. Shut the fuck up. And then, I mean, sometimes I like it quiet. Sometimes I'm just kind of in my own little world, and it's like, I just, you know, just kind of like silence. And everyone would have to be silent when I told them to. You know? I wonder if that would work on animals, too. If you could make Minxie behave herself. Could I? He's like, fuck no. You're not the boss of me. But no, I think for adventurous purposes, going invisible would have to be it. Because you could go anywhere you wanted, and no one would be the wiser. You know, like I would have to find that staircase again at Union Station, and go all the way up it without having to worry about maybe getting caught on a security camera or whatever. I mean, you know, if I'm gonna run, does it work on ghosts too? You know, because I had that weird, like, I was going up this staircase. It was a creepy old staircase that just went, like, it went as far as the eye could see, the staircase. And it had to be the staircase where you got to the ceiling and above, you know. But it didn't say employee. It didn't say, you know, stay out. It didn't say anything like that. So I just started walking up it. But then I got, like, this weird, like, fight or flight thing all of a sudden. But I think it was, like, I was worried I was going to set off an alarm. Like, there was going to be security cameras. They were going to see me going up there, and then they were going to come like, hey, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. Even though there was nothing saying, don't go this way. You know, there was no gate, there was no anything. It was just a staircase, whoosh, as far as the eye could see, up to the, like I said, that had to be the roof access, I guess, or, you know, above the chandeliers and stuff. That had to be the staircase that got you up there. But I just had this weird, like, you know, I shouldn't be here, like, that weird feeling just all of a sudden of, like, I should get out of here right now kind of thing. Kind of weird, you know, vibe. Just a weird vibe, just all of a sudden. But there again, I think it was, where do feelings come from, if we're going to talk about the paranormal? Like, where do feelings come from? And I feel like, you know, it's like I said, I was worried there was a security camera. I was worried I was going to set off an alarm. I was worried I was going into an area that was employees only, that I wasn't supposed to be in, that I was trespassing, you know, that security was going to come get me, like I said. But just out of curiosity, I looked it up when I got home, and apparently there is the ghost of a mobster who got shot on the front steps as he was trying to escape on a train. That wanders around. There's like a specific bench that he likes to sit by, apparently, that was like his bench or whatever. For some reason he's connected to this one bench, kind of. People see him sitting on it a lot, or around it a lot. And obviously that bench was not in this stairwell. But it's like, oh, well, maybe, maybe I almost ran into the ghost of a mobster, an old-timey mobster or something. But I really think it was more so I'm trespassing, I'm not supposed to be here, I should get out of here before I get in trouble kind of thing, being the good little boy that I am. But if I could turn invisible, I could just go up that stairwell. I don't even know how I found it. I don't know how I got into it. It might not even be accessible anymore, because they changed the way that you come into Union Station now from the link. It used to come in over this, back when they had the, this is the same time, it used to come in over this. They still had the restaurant was still going, and they had like this big counter and all these booths around. And I remember coming off the link and coming, but now like they've walled all that in, and the restaurant is not there anymore. It's some kind of I haven't gotten into that room, but it looks like a conference room now with like a stage in it and stuff. Like they tore out the old counter and shit, which upsets me greatly. If that was like the original, like why would you do that? Why would you destroy history like that? Like that just that just upsets me. But maybe it's still back there somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, I remember that time because that was when Sean and Nick and some other people, they were doing like a magic tournament in the city, and so I was wandering around all day by myself, and I found the link, and I got over to Union Station, and that was the same day that I found that stairwell, wherever that was. I have no idea where that stairwell is, but if I could turn invisible, I could find it again and walk all the way up there without having to worry about anyone seeing me or getting in trouble. So if I were to have the same fight or flight response, it might be more likely to be the mobster ghost. Because it's like, obviously I'm not going to get caught because I'm invisible, But yeah, for adventuring purposes such as that, turning invisible, I think, would be the coolest. Like, you could go in, you could do some naughty things. You could do, you could, like, because at the last time we were up there, they had a Spider-Man exhibit from the different movies and stuff. You could just go in. You wouldn't have to pay ticket price, nothing. You could just go in and look at shit. But there again, like, there's a lot of people, I don't know, that would be a tricky thing, because it's like people, just because you're invisible doesn't mean you're not still solid. It's not like you're, like, it's not like you're ethereal. People can't just walk through you, so they might walk into you if they're not careful. Or you might walk into other people, and they'll be like, there again, it's like, oh my god, it's a ghost. Because it's like you just bumped into somebody, but nobody's there. But it's me, because I'm invisible. Like, have to be careful in some of these situations, Or if it was, like, raining, like, rain would still hit me, right? And people could still, like, see me, because the rain would be hitting me, if it was raining, Or if you're spending the day at the water park, like, you're still gonna tread water if you're swimming. I don't really swim, though. If I had my own pool, I guess I would, but I don't know. It's not that big a thing to me, really, necessarily. But I don't know. But definitely for adventuring purposes, yes. Being invisible would probably be my best bet. So I'm going to go with that. And the lights have turned off on me twice, which I think this is on a 15-minute timer. So that means this video is probably, it has to be at least half an hour of me just blah, 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 blahing on. At least maybe half of it was answering the question. I don't know. But anyway, we'll see how next week goes. Because I don't know if Mom's going to work half a day and then come get me. Or what. So, probably, I'm going to guess it's not going to Parks and Rec. So, probably, I might come home. I lost that thought. I'm sorry. It was gone. But I won't be going to work. I won't be doing overtime next weekend, so I might be able to sneak the question in real quick on a Friday again, or not very quick, as this one has not been very quick. So I'm going to shut up now because I feel like I've said enough. And if you've sat here and listened to the whole thing, thank you. Thank you for spending time with me. I'm sorry you had nothing better to do. But anyway, have a good weekend. Stay warm if you can, because it's getting cold and it fucking sucks. Goddamn winter. But other than that, have a good one, and I shall see you for when I see you.